wait for it. Alright, one more room to go, and then we fight Bowser. Oops. Oh well. Doesn't really matter. So you're gonna see me eat a melon through the floor here. That's a technique I don't think I explained yet, but if you extend your tongue out in the air until it's fully extended, you can angle it down into the floor or wall and eat things through the floor or wall. Oops, I messed up. Now he's gonna go up there. That's alright. So I'm gonna eat this super happy fruit here to get infinite eggs, and then I'm gonna do that. So instead of pelting him directly with eggs, you have to make sure he hits the explosion. It's funny because the explosions linger for like 2 full seconds, so you can see that that third egg actually hit him twice. And now he's dead. The bosses in this game are kind of a joke. And that also means that lap 1 is complete. And so now I've beaten the game, and when I reset, my save file will be cleared, and I start back at World 1. Except I'm going to take a different path of levels this time. Yay, high score! I'm not going to actually save my high score because it's slow.
I want to stick around for the rest of this, but I think I'm going to have to go because I don't know if I can keep it just going.
That's fine. No problem at all. So it is a pretty long run, so yeah, but thanks a lot for joining.
You're welcome. I hope I was at least a little helpful since I played this before.
Yeah, it was nice to have you here. Alright, so 1-2, it has these guys. You have to like stomp on all of their fuzzy pieces to make them get, to kill them and get a melon. Oh, really? That's alright. Come on. If I get a dustless ground pound there, then those shy guys do not pop out of the tree, and it makes that part much easier for me. Same with right here. So since we're once again in World 1, like the kind of the enemies and the world in general is a little bit more tame again. But that doesn't necessarily mean speedrun strats are any more tame. Though I would say that 1-2 is probably the most relaxed of the World 1 levels as far as speedrunning goes. It's in the last room that I do a couple of cool things. Oops. Alright. So I can push this box just a tiny bit in order to ground pound it on the other side. So that's pretty cool. Now there's these guys. So I can take these guys out with one egg like that because, again, the explosion lingers for so long.
So what made you decide to run this game?
I decided to run this game because I didn't like how little attention it received. Again, any percent was the only category, and it made me really sad that we couldn't see more of the game in what I think could actually be a cool run. And I really do feel like I made a really good choice, because even starting out, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a cool run, but I started, you know, figuring out cool technical stuff, advanced techniques. And at that point, I'm like, wow, this is like actually pretty legit. There, I tried to use my extra long tongue while super happy to grab that melon, but I missed it that time. You know, the part I really like about speedrunning is routing and figuring out cool new stuff, and this game really fit the bill because I felt there was so much unexplored stuff in this game. Next up is Bone Dragon Pit, another pretty memorable level of this game. It has the giant bone dragons that shoot fireballs at you. And this level's pretty cool.
I might have missed it earlier, but is there any reason you're playing on Virtual Console versus the N64?
Oh, thanks for bringing that up, because that's something I actually didn't mention either. I play on Virtual Console mostly because of the controller. I highly prefer a GameCube controller for this game, but I also think Virtual Console might be a little bit faster because there's no lag. Normally, whenever there's a page turn transition, N64 will take an extra 2 seconds or so, because that's a very laggy scene on N64. On Virtual Console, most of the time does not lag at all. Alright. Though the offset is every time you reset, you have to wait an extra 6 seconds or so on Virtual Console, of course. Alright. Kind of a mini-boss that gives me free. This is like the mini-boss music whenever you hear this music. So whenever you see those blue blocks that I break with eggs, normally if you hit the block directly with an egg, you can only break one block at a time. But if you offset the egg throw so that it hits the wall or in front of the blocks, then instead the blocks get broken by the egg's explosion, which can break as many blocks as are in the explosion's radius, and it can be much faster to break multiple blocks that way. So these stack mini games are something that probably a lot of people when they were younger had trouble with. They're really not hard to do quickly once you get used to it, because if you run at full speed, the stack goes up, and if you jump, the stack goes down. And so you can just maintain full speed and time your jumps in order to keep the stack balanced like that. Next up is Cloud Cruising, another very memorable level. because it has those weird worm things that you ride. Not to mention the boss, Cloud and Candy, which is a giant ball of cotton candy that you have to kill by eating him. Probably agreed to be one of the sillier bosses in Nintendo history. So right off the bat, I don't want to ride this guy because it's slow. So I'm going to tongue jump there so I can reach that melon. And just be on my way like this. There we go. This guy I have to ride though. There's a few of these guys that I have no choice. No, I don't want you. Get out of my way. There we go. So in this next room, I need to kill all of the enemies in order to get the melons. Fortunately, the developers were nice enough to put a super happy fruit right here, so I can just ground pound them while they're in the background and they all die. I actually initially did not know about that, so I wasted a good 30 seconds in that room every single time. So now I gotta wake up this dragon. I'm also gonna wake up this warp right here. If you were wondering, those are little kind of checkpoint warps. I'm gonna use him later, but for now I have no choice but to ride the dragon. This doesn't waste any time, by the way. So, that little thing you'll see me get later. Alright, and now I'm gonna jump ahead of him because bees. Oops. The problem is these bees spawn randomly, so I can't always get a good pattern and save time over the dragon. So, like, that was a pretty bad pattern. I think I saved a little bit of time at the end. But now I warp back to the beginning, and I have to take a different path to get the rest of the melons. By hitting this switch that I skipped before. And now for the boss. This is the hardest boss to beat as fast as possible because you have to be really, really good at mashing B, so we'll see what I can do. The best case scenario is you beat him in one hop, so we'll see what happens. Got it. Alright, next is another pretty difficult level. Another memorable level for people who play this game. Because it has those giant fish that eat you. A lot of people remember those. And it is one of the ways that Yoshi can get brutally murdered in this game. Come on. It's tough to actually get Yoshi to jump out of the water. It doesn't respond to your inputs most of the time for some reason. Oops. A lot of my techniques and movement are simply to prevent Yoshi from losing speed as I control him. You know, he loses speed when he does a lot of things, when he throws eggs, when he eats fruits, when he flutters. Alright. I'm gonna try to use my extra long tongue to eat this melon down here. Got it. That was also pretty difficult, but it saves a few seconds because I don't have to jump in the water. Alright, and here's the infamous fish. Fortunately, he very rarely eats me because he jumps out of the water at all the same points, as long as my movement is the same every time. So I always know where he's going to jump out. Okay. This is another very difficult minigame. Probably the next most difficult after 6-3. Oops.
So correct me if I'm wrong, this game runs at 60 frames per second.
Yes, this game runs at 60.
Which for the N64 was kind of rare, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is a 2D game though, so it's kind of expected, I guess, if all you're drawing is a bunch of 2D sprites. But yeah, most N64 games do not run at 60 FPS. All right, he jumps out there, so I dodge him. Yeah, this is one of the few. It almost looks 3D, but everything is just pre-rendered 3D into 2D sprites, similar to Donkey Kong Country. All right, this blue fish, he squirts water at me and tries to knock me into the pool so he can eat me. And he also likes to waste a lot of time. Oops. Okay. Alright, next is the other water level. I'm actually kind of glad that we're getting them out of the way. But this one is actually, like I said, it's quite challenging and has some cool and interesting tricks. So the technique where I eat melons through the walls is very important in this level. And there are a couple areas where it not only saves a ton of time, but it's also quite difficult because my tongue is just long enough. And so I have to be really good at my timing. This is the first one. Alright. And for this next area, I need to make sure that Yoshi is facing the right direction in the water. I need to make sure he's facing left. He's facing right now, so when I'm eating melon number 6, I turn him around like this. He turns around after swimming 3 strokes in the same direction. And so now I want to keep him facing left so I can eat these. And I'm on a time limit for these because that pink jellyfish eventually gets in my way, and I can no longer eat those. And I'm also on the time limit because I need the super happy fruit, the extra long tongue from that in order to reach those melons. Fortunately, I did them pretty quickly, so there's nothing to worry about. That's one of the more difficult parts of this level. The next room is a mini-boss. Well, not really. He's invincible. And the goal is to kill all of the enemies and collect all of the coins to get my melons. Alright. I'm too scared of eating the grape there, so I'm just gonna come back to that guy. There we go. I'll just wait this out. Since it's so difficult to do stuff while swimming, such as, you know, eat enemies, you know, there is an optimal cycle for that guy, but it's just really hard to maintain that cycle because it's so easy to mess up your movement underwater. And so you run into, you know, situations where you just have to wait for his tail to move out of the way before moving on. Nice. And now we can finally chill out a little bit. This room is a little bit relaxing. Now you're gonna see the first flutter minigame that I play, where I need to reach the goal without touching the ground. This is extremely easy, because maintaining your height while fluttering is really easy in this game compared to Yoshi's Island, as you can see. It's tough to gain height during your flutter. Still easier than Yoshi's Island, but simply, like, getting a good flutter in this game is not very challenging. But it's nice because I can take advantage of it a lot throughout the run. Alright, here's some damage boosting / invincibility abuse. And another one here. And in this last room, there are a couple of shy guys holding the last two melons that fly in from the background. And this is only scary because they only fly by once, so I have one chance. Okay, that wasn't bad at all. It looks less scary than it is because if one shy guy gets past my barrage of eggs and he hits me and hurts me, then all of a sudden, all of the shy guys are on top of me and flying past me, and it becomes very, very easy to miss those if you don't just get the setup properly. And that's it for the water levels, yay! Back to real Yoshi's story. Most of this level is just good platforming. No real crazy tricks for a lot of it. So I don't think there will be all too much commentary. Oops. That's not good. Okay, I'm gonna hit this as a safety. Because these melons up here are on a timer. And if I run out of time, then they're gone forever, so. This room is pretty tough, so I'm gonna hit the warp in case I miss melons by accident. Like I just did. Okay, I missed 2. This next room has an auto-scroller, which I tried for a long time to save time on by skipping it, but it's too unreliable and doesn't really save any time anyway. It's this dude. What I have had happen in this section is I've had a melon simply not spawn, which wastes a good 15 seconds because I have to despawn the area and spawn it again. I think it's camera related, so I try to be extra careful with not like moving the camera too much. Where is it? There it is. Alright. This has like a hidden bubble that I have to hit with an egg. In order to save time, I do it after I activate this minigame. Like that. And then I have to make sure I hit the switch and eat these 2 melons before this first block falls down. Alright, Bowser fight number 2. At the end of this level, I have enough eggs to not have to jump over him and eat the super happy fruit, so I can just stun lock him from the beginning of the fight, assuming I don't miss any shots. I only need 5 eggs because that 3rd egg, the explosion hits him twice after, a second time after this cutscene, which is pretty funny. There we go. And now we're done with the second lap. Every time you beat the game, it's called a lap in this run. And the cool thing is, you can reorder those laps however you want, so if you're running this game and you're not feeling a set of levels, you could just push them back and start with a different lap and see how you feel when you come back to it later. It's a very versatile run like that.
If you've got a spare moment, perhaps you'd like to shout out Franker Faces?
Well, would you like me to?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I manage a browser extension called Franker Faces, and what that allows you to do is, if you are a Twitch broadcaster, then it allows you to add custom emotes to your channel, despite not having subscriber status, and anybody with Franker Faces installed is able to use those emotes. There are currently around 20,000 users and over 700 channels.